Okay, it is Thursday's Talking Reds. A few bits to get into first that I don't think warrants huge discussion because we've talked about them before really, and they've not really moved on. I'm just giving you a bit of news. Gareth Roberts, by the way, Craig Hannan, back to the usual lineup today after Mo's sterling effort yesterday. You all love him, don't you? Which is nice.
He's getting jealous in the office this morning.
I'm not. I love Mo as well. I want a hug off Mo. I'm only going to introduce this idea once we've had a drink though. So there's been reported interest in Daniel Sturridge from both Inter Milan and from Seville, but both clubs are angling for loan moves. Sevilla have already had a loan offer rejected. I would suggest Inter's is probably headed the same way. As you probably know, Liverpool have already made it clear that they're prepared to listen to offers of around 30 million for a permanent move for Sturridge. Loan moves they're less interested in. I think Klopp just thinks, I'd rather keep him around the place, and if we need to use him, we can use him. Obviously, the wages and that £30 million seem to be a bit of a stumbling block with clubs that are interested in him. But we'll see. Sturridge obviously wants regular football in World Cup year. So we'll see what happens. There's still a couple of weeks left of the transfer window. On another one that's just sort of ticking over, and we'll see what happens, Emre Can. Juventus have been banging on about him again, as they do. This time they're saying they will try all they can to get the player. We sort of know that anyway, so like I say, all this stuff's pretty obvious and not warranting great discussion really. The other one, Marko Grujic, has gone on loan to Cardiff, hopefully to get some regular football, although quite what he's going to learn from Neil Warnock, aka Colin Wanker, is anyone's guess. Not a friend of Liverpool Football Club over the years. All right, well, Craig and Mo did mention on yesterday's show that I am a member of the local fans forum that's been set up by the club. If you haven't seen this, they've set up a series of forums. There's a ticket forum, overseas supporters, there's various different ones. I was selected onto the local fans forum, and the first one was on Sunday. So just to tell you a bit about that, I mean, the lads covered a bit of it yesterday. It was interesting, it was a good debate, club and fans represented. You could go where you wanted with it, you could say what you wanted, nothing was off the table really. It did get into tickets early doors, despite Tony Barrett doing his best to steer the conversation away from tickets because there is a separate ticket forum. But we did talk about tickets. We talked about the fact that there are empty seats at virtually every Anfield game, which is basically those seats are sold. They are season tickets or the tickets that are being sold at members or whatever, and then they are people that aren't turning up on the day. And so what we were talking about was how that can be remedied. It was interesting actually, because I think what goes amiss in a lot of conversations among fans, and I include ourselves on this, is the actual logistics for some of the ideas that are kicked around. So it was interesting to hear from Phil Dutton in there, who's the head of ticketing for Liverpool. He was coming back with, well, how do you do that? So for instance, you will hear people say, you should just get a load of kids in the ground, or you should have an area of the Kop that is just young fans, you make a noise, you want to create an atmosphere. Phil rightly will say to you, well, how do you do that? Because there are people in this area of the Kop that people are talking about who've got a ticket there, who've got a season ticket, and they'll say, if you come to them and say, so we want to move you because we want to stick kids there, because we want to create an atmosphere, they'll go, it's my seat, that.
Yeah.
And so that is quite a big problem. That's quite a big stumbling block, because the club, it seems to me, are perhaps more prepared to listen than ever before. These forums are a good example of that. But there's got to be thought around the logistics as well. I mean, another one was these empty seats. Could you have kids waiting outside, local kids, and then when it's clear that a seat is empty, you get these kids in?
It's not very safe, is it?
Well, there's the safety aspect. There's also the point of how do you actually know that the seat is empty? So you could get to 3:10 and go, okay, that seat's empty, bring a kid in, and then who's ever seated is, they could turn up at 3:15 and go, well, I'm here.
Well, I saw someone on Twitter say if they don't get to their seat by 2:45, then you sell the ticket. You'd fucking selling my ticket every single week, wouldn't you? Because by the time you get there and get in, it's usually 5 minutes before the kick-off. It's a difficult one as well, because you don't want. Is it very safe as well for just kids to be randomly, sort of sporadically dotted around the stadium just because there's a spare seat there and then there's a spare seat there? Like, at what age is that a viable option? It's just, yeah, it's
I mean, I wouldn't be sending my kids down to Anfield and just saying,
just waiting around outside,
just hang around the ground on the off chance that you might get a ticket. I wouldn't be doing that. Another one that was suggested on the day was whether something could be set up. Obviously, again, logistics, cost, how you do it, and all the rest of it. But could something be set up whereby you can inform the club a couple of days in advance? You know, I will not be going on Saturday, and I would like to donate my ticket back to the club in the knowledge that that will then go to, you know, a young supporter who ordinarily can't afford to go to the match or would love to go for the first time or whatever. So that was put to them as well. I think that it felt like that's something they might look into.
That's a great idea, because I know people already that, say for a cup game that they can't get to, they'll actively look for youngsters because they know that they're the kind of people that find it difficult to afford
people come
tickets.
to us, don't they? People come to us and ask that.
Yeah.
You know, people have emailed us and said, you know, I can't make this game. You lads are on the ground in the city. Is there a way I can get my ticket to people who ordinarily can't afford to go? Which is fantastic. But then, you know, again, we're in the boat then of going, well, how do we sort it out? Yeah. Same's happened with Spirit of Shankly at times as well. There was actually mention in this forum of whether, you know, Spirit of Shankly, Spy and Cop, those groups, whether they could help to administer some kind of scheme around this. So it feels like it needs more talking through, but a good idea nevertheless. The club did say it was committed to keeping a local core element of the support. That is obviously a regular debate among fans about where fans are from and who's deserving of tickets and quite how you do it all. Talk also of the season ticket amnesty, which is the idea that there are obviously lots and lots of season tickets out there. I'm sure we all know someone where they've got a season ticket in someone else's name. That person has been dead for 200 years. And what the club are saying is they quite like to know who is in individual seats, not unreasonably. And they were saying, you know, that it's not just for sort of business reasons, but also for safety reasons. In the, you know, in the current climate, the way things are, it could be quite handy to know who is in seats and who owns season tickets and that sort of thing. So that is something that they're working on. Another thing they got into was just sort of the LFC Foundation work, the charity work that they do, the stuff they do with the community, and also the PR around that. That was an interesting chat actually. I mean, you know, there was people there who worked for Liverpool who seemed like good people who were obviously dedicated to what they're doing, but they were talking about that they didn't feel that they should almost PR everything they were doing, that it would almost feel like they were doing it for the sake of PR. And sort of my argument back was they need to work on how they're perceived though in the city. They need to work on the relationship with fans, because what I see is a lot of mistrust of the club. And I think some of that is a legacy of Hicks and Gillette. Some of that is just a legacy of the way the club has been run for a long time. Some of that is a legacy of the club's relationship with the community, which hasn't always been the best. So it feels to me that while, you know, maybe they don't want to PR every single story, there's ways and means. There's putting certain people up for interview at different times. There's getting certain messages across, even about the tickets. I mean, I just think that when you go and speak to Phil, and like Phil Dutton, the head of ticket, is a Scouser, is a season ticket holder himself, he's a Red. And when you start to listen to some of the difficulties around balancing the whole thing out and making every fan from everywhere, season ticket holders, members, you know, all the rest of them, keeping everyone happy is almost an impossible job. And my argument is, well, why don't you talk about why it's an impossible job? Why don't you tell the world, we've got this problem, you know, got the problem with touting, you know, all these things. Put it out there, talk about it, you know, be more transparent about it, and perhaps more fans will be like, well, actually, it's not the club being mad or out of order or not considering fans. It's just a really hard job, yeah. Yeah,
it's really difficult. Yeah, I think it often seems as if it's just a one-way conversation. It's fans saying, "Oh, we need young locals in. We need, you know, we need a season ticket amnesty. We need to, and so on, but never really getting anything back for the club." So yeah, it would be good. I think this is the start of that, though. I think that the very fact that we're talking about it now and it's a discussion when maybe a year or two ago we wouldn't have been having these conversations.
Exactly, yeah,
you wouldn't have been at a meeting with the club.
in the right direction.
So yeah, that can only improve things. But like you said, it's going to take time. It's never going to be one forum down and then quick fix. So yeah, it will take time, these things. But it's great that they're trying.
On the subject of getting young people into the ground and an opportunity to do that, I just wanted to give a shout out to, on Saturday 3 p.m, Liverpool are playing Arsenal in the Youth Cup, the under-18 sides. Of course, Liverpool's side managed by Steven Gerrard. It'll be his first game at Anfield as a manager. That game is free if you're a season ticket holder or a member. It is £3 and £1 for juniors, young adults and over 65s if not. And it's just an opportunity to get inside Anfield and take some kids down in a less sort of pressured environment, really. I mean, you know, it can be quite daunting, obviously, to be in the presence of 50,000 people and all the madness around that for a young kid. I think the Youth Cup games at Anfield like this, opportunity to take your kids. You can go down on the day as well, so you know you don't have to have a real big plan around it, and go and support the team as well. I mean, the Youth Cup's a nice one. I think you know, Liverpool have obviously won it in the past, still some prestige attached to it. It'll be the first time, and sadly probably the last time for some of those lads that they'll ever play at Anfield, so yeah, they'll appreciate your support. So if you can get down there, go and do it. I mean, I've gone to them in the past and I really enjoy it, and I'm thinking about maybe how I can get down there on Saturday. I think it'd be a good one, that. So have a look at that if you can. I'm going to nip down to Gerrard's press conference today, where they'll be talking about that game. Hopefully write something up and get it on the site today, time permitting and all that. The other thing I wanted to mention is I seen James Pearce getting stick last night, unnecessarily so, from fans asking why he wasn't talking about Jon Flanagan. Jon Flanagan, I'm sure you've seen in the news, has been given a community order after throwing his girlfriend into the wall and kicking her. Liverpool have now begun disciplinary action against him. He's on the front page of the Echo there, disgraced. People were basically saying to James Pearce, why aren't you tweeting about it? You know, you're quick enough to criticise other players when they've had disciplinary problems and everything else. James, quite rightly, I think, went back and said the Echo have covered it. They've had it reported in court. It's on the front page of the paper. From an Echo point of view, it is covered. We don't need to get on James Pearce's back. There is a Liverpool statement being released since you know, it came through that. What's happened is he's been given 45 hours unpaid work and rehabilitation days with the probation service as part of a 12-month community order. There's no custodial sentence. He admitted common assault. Liverpool's statement is that we condemn in the strongest possible terms the player's actions during the events that took place, resulting in this conviction. It leaves his own reputation damaged, and through association he has severely let down the club, a club that he's previously represented with distinction. We've expressed to him our disappointment and anger that he's failed to live up to the values of Liverpool Football Club in this specific instance. The club has allowed the legal formalities to reach a conclusion before deciding on or implementing any internal disciplinary action. That internal process will now begin, and the club has no further comment to make at this time. In terms of personal opinions on this, me personally, I think Liverpool should disassociate themselves with him. I think there's a good case here to say he should be sacked, because you know what he's done to his girlfriend cannot be defended in any way. And I'm not sure, if you take football out of this, that there'd be many other companies that would be keeping an employee on after actions such as this. I guess the other side of it is that, you know, perhaps some might say, you know, he needs some kind of counsel and some kind of help. He is obviously quite a wealthy man, so he may be able to pay for that himself. But ultimately, as I say, he hasn't received a custodial sentence, 40 hours unpaid work, 15 rehabilitation activity days, it's called here, with the probation service. Interestingly, Paul Joyce says in the Times today that it's highly unlikely that Liverpool will rip up his contract, reportedly £28,000 a week. Paul says in the Times that he has 18 months to run on it. Dominic King says in the Mail that he only has 5 months to run on it. I'm not sure which of those is true. Either way, though, he certainly has let himself down, let Liverpool Football Club down, and you know, he'll have to struggle to get that name back, really. So I wanted to mention that. I may well try and write something on that once I've got my head round it all, so I'll put something up on the site. But did want to mention it because I know people will say, well, why didn't you? Well, there you go, we have mentioned it. I mean, in general, Talking Reds is intended to be quite light, looking at, you know, transfers and everything else and having a bit of a laugh. That is not a laugh, that is quite heavy, but we're going to return to having a laugh in a minute when we have a look at the papers. All right, back with the papers then. Today's papers, lots of the same stories that you've already heard. Sanchez again, this move to Manchester United, it does seem to be happening. Sanchez jackpot, says the Mail. Sale of the century, says the Mirror. The Mirror claims that he will be getting £500,000 a week, which over the course of his 4.5-year contract will be £117 million. I was quite interested that Phil Neville, the pundit that is Phil Neville, he was on Radio 5 last night, and he basically says that, I think I said the other day on one of the ones that, it feels a little bit desperate, this, from United. And Phil Neville said he thinks that one of the reasons United are so desperate to push it through is they're actually worried about Liverpool and how well Liverpool are playing, and the fact that Liverpool, could end up finishing second and finish above them. And this is their little panic buy. So that's quite a nice way to look at it, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I think pundit's kind for Phil Neville, to be honest. I'd say ex-footballer talks about football. I think, I don't blame them. I'd be worried about us at the minute, the way we're going, the way we're playing. We've got Van Dijk and everything's positive around Anfield, beating the league leaders and so on and so on. We talked about this transfer the other day, didn't we? And I said, I'd love to get Sanchez in, but I did not realise £500,000 a week. That must be over double our highest earner.
I think so,
and I think I said the same in Talking Reds the other day. Everything that United do almost feels a little bit desperate. It doesn't feel as if it's very thought through. They weren't in for him last summer, were they?
No.
And then just suddenly, halfway through, they're only, I think we're level on points, or maybe they're 3 in front of us, and suddenly they believe, with the way Liverpool are playing, we're going to have to get someone like Sanchez in to bolster things. But when they went for Lukaku, there was no talk of them going in for Sanchez. So, and I think that's something that we've seen in United's transfer policy. It's almost just, right, who's the best available? Throw money at him, just throw money at him.
It's scattergun, isn't it?
I can't remember. I would love someone to sort of, and I don't know if they already have, I would love someone to compare their 3 forwards against ours and how much they're being paid in terms of like an Ibrahimovic, Lukaku, Pogba, now Sanchez, maybe 4 on 4, and see compared to Salah, Firmino and Mane and Oxlade-Chamberlain or something like that. It would be such a gap.
And who's getting the value?
But exactly. There's no golfing class there, in my opinion.
The other one that, again, they've been talking about it all week, they're still talking about it now, VAR, the video ref. If you watched the Chelsea-Norwich game last night, basically there was a penalty, fairly blatant one on Willian. The referee on the pitch missed it. The video ref must surely have seen it. He didn't flag it up, he didn't highlight it to the referee, which it is in his power to do. And everyone now is asking why, and Shearer says it's a disgrace and all that sort of stuff, it's shambles and everything else. I mean, basically, you can stick whatever you want on the pitch and do whatever you want with telly screens and everything else, but it's still humans working it all.
Everything's still going to be subjective.
Mistakes still happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think we were worried about, computers coming into the game and it taking away from the conversation, around sort of clear-cut chances and penalty opportunities and so on, but just proved us all wrong there. It sounded manic last night. I didn't watch it, but yeah. I think with these things as well, it's so new and it's new technology, and there's always going to be adjustments made to it, isn't there? And I wouldn't be surprised to see some sort of rule in the future where it's a club can ask for it to be used twice or in a game or something like that, because what was annoying from watching the highlights this morning was in some of the decisions, seeing players walk up to the ref and go like this. That was annoying me.
It's always going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you introduce this idea of challenges, then that will get abused as well. I mean, players and managers, rightly in my opinion, are always looking for any possible way to gain an advantage and win a game. There's so much at stake that's always going to be the case. And if this is something that in some way can be abused, players and managers will find a way to do it. Okay, the next one then, which is interesting. I'm doing everything down here and saying that we've talked about it before. We haven't talked about this before, and I'm really looking forward to talking about it, because what it is Andy Carroll, as you may have seen this week, has been linked with Chelsea, which is quite quite the bizarre link. God knows why, but they talked about it on Sky Sports with Craig Bellamy.
Your second favourite Craig, would you say?
Definitely, mate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Craig, I loved Craig Bellamy. I know he wasn't everyone's cup of tea, but I just like people, A, who are honest, B, who give everything, and C, who were a bit of a narc, and he was certainly all of those things, and I think he remains all of those things. I'd really like to interview him one day. We have had a crack at that before, or we'll have another crack soon. But he was asked about the idea of Andy Carroll going to Chelsea and what he thought of it. And now, you know, whereas the likes of Phil Neville will offer very beige opinions on things at times, they all do it, they don't want to upset their mates, or they want to get the gig on telly again, or whatever. Bellamy, it seems, just doesn't give a shit, which I'm bang into. Yeah. I remember him doing it. I mean, he's obviously done some naughty things in his time. He'd be the first to admit that as well. I remember an interview with him where he said he was going to call his book "Don't Google Me," which I enjoyed. But no, on Andy Carroll, he said, this was on the debate on Sky Sports, he says, his strength is in the air, he's very difficult to deal with. But in general play, he's very difficult to link with. He doesn't see the game. He says, my conversations always with Andy were, I don't believe that he worked hard enough during the week to be the player he wanted to become. I never seen an inch of that, not like with Jordan Henderson. Jordan was going through a difficult period at that time as well. This is at Liverpool, obviously. But he just trained and trained and trained and trained. He kept improving, kept going to the gym, and he worked. And I knew, and I remember saying to him, you're going to be a top player. I know it just by your attitude and the ability you have. It will come. But I never felt that was going to be the case with Andy. So Jeff Shreves at this point chipped in and says, well, you know, is it because Carroll's a bit of a laid-back character? You know, he's giving him a way out. He's giving him a nice line there to go a bit more PR. Bellamy's having none. He says, I wouldn't say laid back. He said he went to the gym and he felt stiff. Then he felt that he didn't want to go to the gym anymore. Are his injuries part of that? He doesn't look after himself. I felt that was always the case with Andy. I just feel he doesn't have the mentality or drive to be a top player, to be at Chelsea levels, or to be at Liverpool for more than one season. And that's just what I've always felt with Andy. And I was surprised that he was linked to Chelsea. Now, I love this. Yeah. I love that, yeah. You know, he just doesn't care. He goes out and he talks honestly about the game. There's too much in punditry, in the answers footballers give to cameras and journalists and in press conference. There's too much beige, isn't there? There's too much control of what they say. You want some honesty. I mean, one I hate is they score an absolute worldie and then they go, well, it's all about the 3 points and all that. Just come on and go, it's good that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'm brilliant. Yeah, how boss am I? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think first and foremost, I think the reason that Carragher and Neville are so highly regarded is not just you know, their ability to analyse football and to talk about it in an articulate way, but it's also the fact that they're honest, and neither of them are worried about what, you know, ex-teammates or you know, fans of their own clubs are going to say. They're just not bothered. And you know, you have to read Craig Bellamy's book because, you know, the very fact that he's getting into punditry is brilliant news for all of us being able to talk about these things and watch him, because some of the things he says in his book are brilliant, and we all know what, some of his stories, the golf clubs, some of the spats that he had and the things that he had to say about other ex-pros. So yeah, I'm all for him being on Sky as regularly as possible. I love him.
It's just a bit of a shame, I think, that we got him as late as we did really in his career. I think he could have done a bit more for us. I mean, certainly, you know, he has two spells, doesn't he? And I think that game against City still jumps out. Brilliant. Absolutely superb that night.
Like a man possessed as well, when just after Gary Speed had passed away. Yeah. I think it was the Chelsea game in the League Cup as well. He was excellent.
Yeah, good player, good to watch, good character. More of that kind of thing, please. Okay, on the Anfield app today, we've got the Gutter Show, looking at all the latest transfer links in detail. The Friday Show, looking at the weekend's fixtures, including Liverpool's, and getting into that and talking about the wider league picture. And the Fantasy Football Show too. All of those are out today for subscribers. If you don't subscribe, theanfieldapp.com/subscribe. Get involved, £5 a month, give it a go. You only have to sign up for a month. If it's not for you, jib it then. And you've just lost a fiver, haven't you? You'll also get access to all our past shows, interviews and everything else. So there's loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of stuff to listen to, so give it a go. We're also heading for Scandinavia next month. We're going to Sweden and Norway. Craig, details on that one?
Stockholm on the 9th, Friday the 9th of February, Oslo the 12th, that's Sunday. in Oslo, we're going to be watching the match. Liverpool play Southampton. We're going to do a post-match show straight after that. Then it'll be the usual talk show. If you want tickets, they're free. All you have to do is sign up to RedsBet. You don't have to deposit any money. You don't have to do anything with it other than get a username on RedsBet and email it. There's an email address on theanfieldwrap.com/tall-live. All of the information on how to attend either of those is on there. And everyone that attends will get a free month to Top Player as well. So yeah, why not?
Yeah, give it a go. Come along if you can. Also as well, just a shout for lots of good pieces of writing on the website this week. I think in particular, everyone tends to get stuck in when Liverpool start doing well, and that's what's happened this time as well. So yeah, get stuck in, get involved in the debate, leave comments on the site. We do read them all, and keep on watching us here, keep on listening. That has been Talking Reds.